Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For those tuning in on the simulcast on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X, we're glad you all can be with us. Going to bring in our friends over on Instagram. Hello to you guys. Glad you could be a part of our show. And last but certainly not least, going to connect with our friends over on Amazon Live. I'm excited about today's segment, even though this is a returning guest. You all know her very well. She has many accomplishments. We have a lot of great things to talk about today. And we're now live on the Amazon Live platform with Cyrus Webb Presents. If you guys are new to us on Amazon, welcome. Make sure you guys do hit that follow button either here in this corner or down below on Amazon. You guys are going to be seeing a lot of me this week because it's Black Friday week. So, of course, we have over 100 products we're going to be sharing with you guys all this week. So make sure you guys are looking out for that. Also across my social media as well. Tina Siemens is back with us today. You guys know her as an Amazon best-selling author. She's the owner of the West Texas Living Heritage Museum. They're in Seminole, Texas. And she's also the co-host of another show that's here on Amazon Live called Words I Choose to Live By. That will be back next Monday. See what we did there? At the same time, as we are now beginning our next part of our season, we're going to talk to Tina not only about her very busy year. She's been doing a lot of speaking this year. She's had some book signings. She also helped us make history here in Mississippi in October, breaking the Guinness World Record for most TV interviews in 12 hours. We're going to also let you guys know how to stay connected with what's happening with her museum as well. Tina, my friend, always great to have you on. How you doing?
I am blessed. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate the time.
Well, look, I always enjoy it as well. Hello to you, Hair Creations, over there on Instagram. Hello to you over there on Instagram as well. So, Tina, you've had quite the year. We actually can compare each other's years. Both of us have been very busy this year. For our audience joining us on Amazon, you'll see the three books that Tina has. We have Seminole, Some People Never Give Up. You all can see it here. Also, we have her book, The Little Sandals That Could. You all can see it there. And then her latest book is called Post Oak. You guys can see it here. This is her newest release that came out. So, Tina, you released a new book. You have speaking engagements. You celebrate an anniversary with the museum this year. What has it been like for you to kind of reflect on the year that's been 2025?
There have been a lot of moving parts in 2025, and I have thoroughly enjoyed. I feel like I've grown a lot
Yeah.
with all the endeavors that I've been blessed with to be a part of, and it's just been an amazing year. Reflecting, looking back, it just gives you a sense of all the things that you were given grace for, and I've
Yeah.
had an amazing year in many aspects.
Yeah. Cindy, Prairie Dodgers, hello to you over there on IG. Glad to be able to see you as well, my friend. So, Tina, and I love what you said because I feel the same way. I feel like I've been pushed a lot this year. I've been dragged a little bit this year as well because some things, I've been kind of, doing begrudgingly, but I know they need to be done. But
Mhm.
it's been so great watching your growth, though, because you've done a lot of speaking this year. You have done a whole lot in being able to share on camera, on social media about what's happening with the museum and the activities there. What has that been like for you to see? Not only your comfort level that you've kind of gotten, but also the audience that's following you now.
Well, for me to hear or get an email or get a text message from across the world, literally, I've been so fortunate to have people reach out and say, I was encouraged by that, or I needed just that, or what what an amazing. So all these compliments and people reaching out lets me know that it is because I dared to step out of my comfort zone. I
Mm,
was able to not break down the box that I was in for a long time,
yeah.
but I feel like my box has flexible sides that were folded down for a while. And so I think that has just been an amazing journey for me to know that I was able to break some of these own barriers that I didn't know that I had but
Yeah.
were there. And so for me to be able to see the growth and the acceptance from being out there is truly beyond my imagination.
Yeah. I was thinking about when I was prepping for today, Tina, a connection you have with a mutual friend of ours, Allie Dowsimer. Because when Allie wrote her book, It's Okay Not to Be Fabulous Every Day, she shared with us that it was initially just for her kids. She had no
Mhm.
intention of publishing her book and then sharing it with the world. I thought about that. That's why I have your book Seminole up here. It started off for you as a project in garnering your family history. Now people around the world are able to read it. What has
Yeah.
that been like for you to know that something that is so personal for you when it comes to your family history, what they've overcome and done, is now something people around the world can read about?
Well, it shows people that we are a lot more similar than what we are different.
Yeah.
And in the journey that my family took, thousands of others took, but they didn't know the steps. They didn't know the timeline. And so for me to be able to give somebody, I had a young engaged couple in the museum just this week, and they had so many aha moments of wow, that's what they had tidbits of information, either from grandpa or great grandparents. And now the timeline came to full view and the appreciation that they have. That's a moment that they will never be able to undo because
Yeah.
from here, it gives them a springboard to researching their own. And that is the beauty of me being able to share my history with those who walk the same journey with me. Like Dr. Velma encouraged me to get these signs, and I've got one here
Hmm.
that a mile starts with one step.
Yeah.
And for me to take that one step from just having it for a personal family, sharing now with anybody and everybody that wants to read it
Mhm.
is a huge step to achieving that 1 mile mark.
Such a great point. Hello to you, Real Lady Extreme over there on IG. Glad you could be able to join us over there from Ohio. Always great to see you on with us. And that goes to another point. I'm going to highlight it for our audience, Tina. Your second book, The Little Sandals That Could, that is more your personal journey. So I'm curious, Tina, thinking about this little girl that we're able to meet in this book.
Yeah.
Could this little girl have imagined that she would go on to speak on stages, to write books, to, to be able to meet people literally around the world in her own museum?
Absolutely no. Like I was just so grateful to be wearing those little purple sandals. That was the only possession that I had coming into this new country.
Mhm.
And then learning the new language and learning the new culture. I mean, I have been so fortunate and so blessed in so many ways that I just cannot believe that the little 8-year-old Tina that came is who I am today.
Yeah. I want to read something, and it's something that you talk about a lot, actually, Tina, and that is, of course, becoming a citizen of the
Yeah.
United States. For those who have the print edition of the book on pages 57 and 58, we're able to get a bit of the conversation with Tina and her dad. And this is what you wrote in the book, Tina. Dad turned to Tina. I just realized that we're no longer strangers in this land. This is our country now. That's good, isn't it? Tina asked. Yes, her father replied. It's just that we have been forced to move from country to country for hundreds of years. I do hope this is our last move. We are free here, Tina said. We can worship freely, we can buy property, we can get educated. This is the best place.
Mm.
Yes, it is, her parents said. Talk to us about that moment, Tina, and your appreciation. What has it been like for you, not only to reflect on that appreciation, but also to share that with other people when it comes to your experience and what that meant to you to be a citizen of the United States?
It, just hearing you read it, it makes me emotional because it was such a pivotal point in our life. For so many years, we had worked so hard. Will we be able to stay or will we have to be deported?
Hmm.
When we walked that stage or we raised our hand and pledged the Pledge of Allegiance, it was such a weight off of my parents' shoulder that now we can start building that American dream. And that is what I am living today. It was on the back of hours and hours on the cotton fields and hours of being so blistered and so sore. But the reward is ongoing. And I've been able to truly enjoy the many benefits of that pivotal moment when we became US citizens.
Hmm.
And I will. I was able to give a copy, a signed copy of my book to President Jimmy Carter in person the very last time he taught Sunday school in Georgia.
Mm.
And it is such a pivotal, grateful thing that I will always be so grateful for. And that is a huge push of what I'm doing on a daily basis, is because giving back means so much to me because I was given that opportunity. And it is, I always say there is not very many as grateful citizens of the United States as I am, because I know what it was without it. I
Yeah.
saw my parents struggle, and being in doubt for years and years. And then when that moment came, it was truly free.
Yeah. Love that. Thank you for sharing that, Tina. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, welcome. You're watching Cyrus Webb Presents. We're on Amazon Live, but we are simulcasting on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X, as well as on Instagram as well. Tina Siemens is back with us. She's an Amazon best-selling author. She's a speaker. Also, as she is the founder of the West Texas Living Heritage Museum in Seminole, Texas, and the co-host of another show here on Amazon called Words I Choose to Live By, here on Amazon on Mondays. You all can be able to catch us beginning next week. So, Tina, I was saying to you before we went live, hey, Del Rita, good to see you joining us over there from Ohio
Hi.
as well. I was saying to you, it's hard to believe, and I was prepping for today's show. Uh, and I think in numbers a lot of times because it's
Mhm.
because of my line of work. And I was like, this is week number 48 of
Yes.
2025. When Tina and I come back next Monday for Word That She's Lived By, it'll be week number 49. I
Yeah.
want to talk to you though about opportunities, Tina, because you're a
Mhm.
person. I mentioned this in a message yesterday. I was sharing with you, Tina. I lost a friend of mine for over 30 years, lost him recently. And one of the things that was said was the importance of appreciating the moment and taking
Mhm.
advantage of the moment. How important has that been for you, Tina, when it comes to opportunities that have come your way?
It is such an important thing. When that door opens, don't stand in doubt. Should I or shouldn't I walk through it?
Mhm.
Walk through it. And as always, there is solutions and there is downfalls. But if we make the choice to walk through that opening, that opportunity that presents itself to us, uh, then we will be able to gain new grounds and experience new things. But if we doubt, reminds me of the spies that were sent into the promised land. There
Hmm.
was some that came back and said, no, there's giants in that land, we can't go in there. And the others that came back and said, it's a land of milk and honey.
Yeah,
It's all in the perspective,
yeah,
whether we take the opportunity to see the positive or the negative, and the results will be accordingly. So
yeah,
for me to be able to take an opportunity and grow from that, what a pleasure and what a uh, absolute blessings I have experienced because I was not afraid to walk through an open door.
yeah. Dorita says, congratulations to your success. And Related Extreme over there from Ohio also says on IG, congratulations on your citizenship. Thanks for sharing your
Thank you.
story. Talk to us about that, Tina, because that goes into your newest book, Post Oak. You know,
Yes.
all history is not pleasant.
Mhm.
If we're honest, all history is not easy, right?
No.
But I think one thing we should all be able to agree on is that all history is necessary.
Amen.
For one thing, because it allows us to learn. Whether you were, I mean, you were just quoting from scripture. I mean, no one says we don't need the Bible, right? Because it's,
Exactly.
even though there are some good things and bad things that the people did, we
Hmm.
still can learn from it. When
Yeah.
did you realize that, Tina? That regardless of how negative it might be or how dark it might be, the importance of knowing history and learning from it.
Well, I've got a quote in the front of this book. It says that if we don't learn, those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it, by
Mhm,
Winston Churchill.
mhm.
That is why it's so important, because we can learn from history.
Yeah,
If we don't know it, then we are going to repeat the same mistakes. And if we know it, we can then be prepared ahead of time to not walk into those traps, because there is always the same traps set from one generation to another. And if we know those traps, then we can detour them and be blessed for not having to spend time and energy and money and all the other things that happen if we fall down. But
Yeah.
if we have fallen, then it gives us also the way out. What did generations before me do? How did they cope with a certain situation? So either way, we will learn and be enriched by knowing history.
Yeah. Prairie Dodgers on IG says 100%. So that brings us to this, and I haven't talked about this before, Tina, but I think it's important because I'm an optimistic person by nature. I'm a person who is always looking to understand situations, understand people. I'm not someone who's quick to make a judgment against people, even people I know. I believe in giving people a fair shake. But
Yeah.
when it comes to history, and I have your book Post Oak here now because, I my uncle, my mom's brother, loved the westerns,
Mm.
and a lot of times when you're watching these shows, you get an idea of who is the quote unquote good person and who's the
Mm.
bad person, right?
Yes, exactly.
Reading your book Post Oak, you help us understand it's not as cut and dry as sometimes we make it out to be. Talk to
Mm-mm.
us about why Post Oak was an important part of history for you to share and what it was like for you to think about the things that were done, but
Mm.
also how we now can learn from it.
Well, so many things that were done in history were done through a disguise. And so when you talk about, you can very easily spot who is the good guy and who's the bad guy.
Hmm.
But that isn't how it really happened in history. It
Yeah.
was much more difficult to really judge who was right or who was wrong. Nobody was always right and nobody was always wrong. And
Hmm.
I always say that a coin has two sides. No matter what story you look at, it depends on who's telling the story. And people, they tend to gravitate to one side or other.
Hmm.
But true history is not that cut and dry. It is the bad, the ugly, and the good. And so for us to maneuver through history, we have to look at all sides.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, then we are not representing true history, because it wasn't that way as it happened. And
Hmm.
so with Post Oak, so much of the fighting that went on in the United States between the natives and the white settlers, or settlers um, in the beginning, was they were blaming each other,
Hmm.
and it wasn't truly resolved until both parties came to an agreement.
Hmm.
And and the beauty of knowing that history is that we can now diversify and say, I don't want to repeat that. I
Yeah.
want to be, God intended for us all to be living under as one.
Hmm.
Yes, we do have differences, but
Yeah.
that's okay because we learn from each other's differences. But
Right.
if we look at the history as, oh, I'm better than you or you're better than I, always trying to measure myself with somebody else, then I am not going to live my full potential.
Yeah.
And so for me to be open to learning, like you said, let's not be judgmental. Let's learn from every part of history,
Hmm.
and we will be enriched. Our lives will be enriched because of that. And then the current generation that's looking at us is going to then learn that it wasn't just one-sided. It
Yeah.
is different different sides, and with it comes different results and outcomes.
Yeah. Does it surprise you, Tina? I mean, as someone who you talked about earlier, who has some, hey, Moses Maddox, hello to you. A lot of Ohio in today's
So
show. Glad to be able to
good.
see you, Moses, over there on IG. Prairie Dodger says diversity. Yes. I mean, does it surprise you, though, Tina, that we are so divisive on things like race and class. Does
Mm.
that surprise you that in this country with so many opportunities, that those are the things that seem to be so divisive today?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's so sad that that is still happening in our age and generation, because we there's room for everyone,
Hmm.
and divisiveness is like a stagnant body of water. There's no growth, no life in divisiveness, and if we learn to agree on our similarities instead of focusing on our differences, then we will together be able to move forward. And it doesn't mean that we have to agree on everything. We have
Right,
to agree to disagree.
right,
And for that growth to happen, is I cannot look at my life and say, I will belittle somebody or topple them over for me to get on top of the pedestal, because truly I'm not on top of the pedestal if I go about it that way. But if
yeah,
we go as a team, then we all grow and we all benefit, and that is my message, and my desire is to be able to be a bridge
hmm,
between many people,
yeah,
people that come across my path, that I will be able to be that bridge no
wow,
matter what our differences are. But let's work on the common and together move forward to making a difference
yeah.
for the future.
And Tina, I can honestly say in the time I've known you, you have been just that person. So thank you for taking up that mantle for sure. Again, everyone, Tina Siemens is our guest. She's the best-selling author of 3 books here on Amazon. Post Oak is her newest, but also her book. Her first book was seminal. Some People Never Give Up. You all can see it there. And then she followed that up with her own personal story in The Little Sandals That Could. All 3 of these are here available on Amazon. If you guys are joining us on the Amazon side, either you'll see it either here on this side or down below. For those of you who are joining us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, you'll find the link to Tina's Amazon page there to be able to get the books for yourself. Also, keep in mind, Tina is the co-host of my show, Word That You Live By. You can find Tina and me here next Monday at the same time at 11 a.m. Eastern. That's 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. for you guys on the West Coast. We're beginning week number 49 from my book, Word That You Live By, as we're wrapping up this year. We'll be here every Monday during the month of December. Of course, it's appropriately, Tina, next Monday is December the 1st, so people can start the
Yes.
month off with us as well. Tina, thank you so
Great.
much for the great work you're doing. Thank you so much for your support as my
Mhm.
friend as well. It meant a lot to me to have you come to Mississippi for the first time in October to be a part of our Guinness World Record event. That really means a lot. How can our audience stay connected with you?
Well, it has been such an honor, and today was a blessing to reminisce on all this history. I would
Mhm.
love, if you're in traveling for Thanksgiving, if you're in this area, if you are a group, call me and I'd love to give you a tour of the museum. But you can go on all social media platforms as Tina Siemens and find me and get in contact with me. I'd like to hear from you.
All right. Michael Martin, hello to you over there on IG. Glad you could be able to join us, Michael, as well. Tina, always great. Oh, there's Gloria, your friend Gloria, our friend Gloria now.
Oh,
Gloria says, Lord, I
Gloria.
thank you for allowing me to cross the path of such a fine lady, one who knows and I understand that we must agree to disagree on both our similarities and differences. Gloria,
Amen.
thank you so much. Gloria, thank you so much for your support of our Guinness World Record event
Amen.
as well. She came in from Yazoo City to be a part of that. Appreciate you joining us. Great conversation, Tina. Looking forward to being with you on next Monday for Words That You to Live By.
Sounds great. Thanks again for having me.
Of
Make it
course,
a
and we
great
thank
one.
thank you, and we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.